Thank you for joining me today, guys. Welcome, everybody. Tonight's topic is guard comb troubles. These guys, we all know what these are. They're essential to pet grooming. Let me tell you that. Guard comb troubles, how to get guard combs to work for you. I have a lot of people that reach out to me that say, my guard combs aren't working. Is it my blade? Is it my clipper? Any clipper, any professional clipper is going to work just fine as long as you have a good sharp blade and you have good professional guard combs. So we're going to talk about that, but what is going to be very surprising to you guys is something, it is the easiest way to relate guard combs to understand why they do and why they don't work sometimes. This is a dog grooming comb. This is going to be very important in tonight's topic tonight. Now we're talking about guard combs, not really dog grooming combs, but we have to associate these two together, and I'm going to explain to you why. If you ever wonder why your guard comb is just not doing the job, it's not cutting, it's important to understand this. Guard combs don't cut hair, they guide through it. That's important for you to understand. These do not cut the hair. A lot of people think that they do. I don't know why. I'm going to show you how they attach, how it works. I got some hair floating around. I got some screen shares that are going to prove to be very valuable for you guys today. In fact, you might want to take some screenshots when I start throwing these screen shares up on the screen, because there'll be great references for you, especially afterwards. After we're done talking, you may say, well, I'm kind of confused. So go back and look at those screen shares. We will get to a Q&A section at the end of our little discussion here today. So if you do have a question for me that's dog grooming related, preferably guard comb related, because that's the topic tonight, then I want you to please hold the dash bar down. So you're going to create a line and then type your question. That way I'll see it and I'll be sure to get you an answer. Because after the discussion, I'm going to go back and I'm going to surf through the chat and start at the very beginning and find those questions that you may have and get you some answers. But first, we have a lesson and I can't wait to deliver it to you. So as I mentioned a minute ago, I want to say it again. It's important for you to understand that guard comb attachments, they don't cut hair, they guide the hair. What do you mean they guide the hair? It's the clipper blade. Let's take the attachment off. It's the clipper blade underneath that does all the cutting. This does all the cutting. This does not do any cutting. Your metal grooming comb is actually a great way to understand how guard combs work. There's always hair in every tool in this shop, so don't be upset. No, your metal grooming comb, and you may have a smaller metal grooming comb, you may have one that looks slightly different than mine, but they really are universally do the same job. Your metal grooming comb is actually a great way to understand how guard combs work because they function the same way as guard combs. Well, you're thinking, what in the world does that mean? Neither one of these cut hair. They glide through it. Okay? So picture that. You've got this attached to your clipper blade and you say, okay, the blade cuts. This is the cutting edge of a blade. So when this is attached, why is my guard comb not cutting? Well, the guard comb itself doesn't cut. The hair has to feed all the way through this guard comb to the cutting edge of the blade, which is right here. So I want to paint the picture for you. I want you to understand how guard combs work. That's important. So if your blade isn't sharp, if your blade that's underneath your guard comb, if it isn't sharp, if it's not cleaned and oiled properly, if it's not maintained or dull, your guard comb isn't going to do its job. It cannot. This is just a guide for the hair. Feeds it into the clipping edge of the blade. So let me show you an image that may make this a little more understandable. So I put some stuff together here for you guys. Let's look at this image on screen. So here is a quick way to test if your guard comb will glide through the coat before you attempt to clip it with a guard comb attached to a clipper blade. You need to grab your metal grooming comb. And as you can see in this picture, there is a picture of a metal grooming comb. You have to have this. This is an essential tool to dog grooming. A metal grooming comb, just like your slicker brush or your brush. That's an essential tool. You must have it. So notice the similarities between a guard comb itself and your metal grooming comb. They are both merely a comb. Now, yeah, you're thinking, but we're not combing the hair with guard combs. No, you're not combing the hair with the guard comb. But if you can slide your metal grooming comb through the coat without snagging, without it stopping, or without it feeling resistance stopping in the coat as you're sliding your metal grooming comb through your dog's coat, then you're ready for guard comb work, and only then. But if it catches, if your metal grooming comb that you use to brush and comb out your dog, after you've bathed, after you've dried, after all the things, if that metal grooming comb cannot slide through the coat without resistance, and maybe if it's catching on hair or snagging, then your prep work isn't done, and your results are definitely going to either suffer or fail. So this is causing people to fail. So this is going to be a great lesson here today. Now I have something else to show you that's quite helpful. This image here, take a screenshot please. This is important. This is what you need to do before you attempt to use guard comb attachments to give a dog a haircut. This is your prep work, and if you're going to use guard combs, this is what you must do first. This is absolutely has to be done. You cannot just put a dog up on the table or your dog up on the table that hasn't been bathed, conditioned, brushed, and dried properly and just start going at it with a guard comb. It will fail. It will absolutely fail. It will get stuck in the coat. Same as if you were trying to slide a metal dog grooming comb through that coat. If that comb can't slide from the skin out through the coat, then neither can a guard comb. Because look, it's basically a comb. So this is your prep work. You have to shampoo and condition the dog. You bathe the dog, basically, but don't skip the conditioner. You have to brush the coat when it's still wet, but it's toweled off. That's important. After you've conditioned and bathed your dog and it's still wet, just damp, you've toweled it off, you're going to easily be able to break apart any remaining dead coat that's hanging there in the coat, or maybe some little snags or tangles that may be there. The conditioner really softens things up and it allows you to break that apart when the coat is still wet. But be very careful when the coat's wet, because the skin after it's bathed is very sensitive, it's very soft. So just be very sure of what you're doing, but it's really going to help break apart the coat so that you can get a beautiful finish with your guard comb attachments. The next thing you must do is dry the dog thoroughly. I prefer to use high velocity dryers. I also use stand dryers. There's all kinds of ways to properly dry our dogs, but guys, it's important that the dog is thoroughly dry, completely dry, for many reasons. For one, we're trying to straighten out the coat, make it completely straight so we can get a precise clip with our guard combs. If the coat is not dry and not pulled out straight, you're going to have some uneven areas that are just going to be almost impossible for you to even out. After you've dried the dog completely, you need to brush the entire coat after drying. That's very important. A lot of people skip it. Don't skip it. Take a screenshot, guys. This is your Bible of what you will follow before you ever attempt to use guard comb attachments. So after you've dried the dog, you thoroughly brush the coat again. Brush it all out. It doesn't take long, a couple minutes, even a big dog, because at this point the coat is in pretty decent shape. And the last thing you're going to do is grab that metal dog grooming comb and you're going to check, slide it from the skin out and see if there's any snags, resistance in the coat. If there is, if the comb cannot slide through the coat without resistance, then you need to go back in those areas and pick up the brush and start brushing again until you can slide that comb easily through the coat. Because remember, let me take this off. Guard combs have to slide through the coat just like a comb does, just like a comb. And if the comb can't slide through, then this never will ever be able to get through the coat. Even though it's attached to a cutting blade, it has to travel all the way through. The coat has to travel all the way through the guard comb to reach the cutting blade. So now you can probably understand why you may be having trouble sometimes with your guard combs. These are finishing combs. They are really not made for cutting dogs that the coat hasn't been prepared properly, meaning it hasn't been bathed and dried and brushed properly. They're not meant for that. They're a finishing tool, and they are a great time saver, and every groomer uses them. Especially in pet grooming, I have relied heavily on these guard combs to get me through a packed schedule of dogs. This is how you do it. But there's that prerequisite, right, guys? This has to be done first. This is important. So I hope you've taken a screenshot of it because I put it up there for you. I want you to keep this. I want you to go back to this if you ever have trouble with guard comb trimming. Now, a lot of people think too that they can just put a dog up on the table, maybe the dog's in bad shape, and they're like, I want to leave, this is 3/4, 7/8. I want to leave 7/8 inch of coat on this dog. That's not always possible. Is the dog matted? You can't get any guard comb, regardless of length, through a matted coat. It's not possible. So you may be trying to do that, and it's not. You have to go with a blade that, now this is a 10 blade. I wouldn't want to go with a 10 blade, but you can try a 4. A 4 is going to be difficult on a matted coat, and a shorter blade from that is a 5. You may be able to get a 5 through a matted coat if it's not severely matted. But if it's pretty matted, the only thing that's going to go through it is a 7 blade. No guard combs at all. So don't even try it, because it'll fail. These can't. They only guide the hair through these little combs till it reaches the cutting edge of the blade. If the hair is matted and clumped together and not brushed, even it just not brushed out. Let's say it's not even matted. It's not brushed out. It'll never slide through the teeth of the guard comb to reach the cutting edge of the clipper blade. It'll never happen. So understanding that's important so that you already don't approach this groom that's kind of questionable, like, well, will I be able to get through this coat with a guard comb? What you need to do is, again, I'm going to throw the image up there, this. And if the comb can slide through the coat without resistance, then you're ready for clipping with your guard comb attachments. If you have resistance, the guard combs are never going to make it through that coat. So sometimes as professionals, when we get a dog in and we know we have an hour and a half scheduled for that dog, and you know, it's not in great shape. It's got mats, you know, all down the legs, and maybe they're not tightly matted, but they're going to take you quite some time to even brush them out before you can even get the dog in the tub. And now that time frame is probably going to take about 45 minutes of your hour and a half to give this dog a full groom. So you have to say, I can't do all that in an hour and a half. And because the dog obviously is wearing mats, he's not being very well taken care of as far as maintenance at home. So I can feel good about taking it down with a 7 blade unless it's a double coated dog. That's a whole different situation. That's addressing the undercoat. We're not talking about undercoat. We're talking about dogs that need a haircut, that continuously grow hair, those dogs. So I have to assess that as soon as the dog's on my table. If the, the client will say to you, like, this here is a 3/8 inch. Yes, this is a 3/8 inch. It will leave 3/8 inch of coat on a dog. So if the client says to me, I want you to use that 3/8 inch guard comb, I want you to use that, and I can see that the coat is not ready, and I'm still going to have to bathe, condition, brush, and dry and prepare the coat, but I have to make a judgment call to say, am I going to be able to get this coat in a condition that after the bathing and drying process, I can slide a grooming comb from the skin all the way out through the hair, the entire dog. I have to make a decision if I will be able to do that within 30, 40 minutes. Otherwise, I don't have time for the whole groom. So, but the reality is, if the dog is kind of, looks like he hasn't been brushed since the last time you saw him, then a shorter clip is what's in order anyway. Because he doesn't need to be wearing a coat that's not cared for. When we don't brush our dogs and they grow coat and they're not being brushed, brushing kind of aerates the coat and allows the skin to breathe. It's very important. And if the skin can't breathe because it's not brushed and it's starting to all stick together, the coat is sticking together, it's kind of suffocating the skin, and then you're going to see irritation too. I mean, if this is prolonged, it could irritate the skin. So making those judgment decisions is part of the assessment. And even if it's your own dog that you're grooming, you need to assess this before you start. If your idea is to use a 7/8 inch guard comb or a 1/2 inch guard comb, you have to say, can I get the skin and coat, the entire coat, nice and brushed out, bathed, conditioned, dried, brushed out, and then slide a comb through the dog? Because until I can do all that, I can't use these guard combs. They will not work on a coat like that. They're not made really for even pre-clipping. You can pre-clip with guard combs, but they're a finishing tool, like our shears. They're a finishing tool to give a nice, even length of coat for the whole trim. That's what they're for. So if you can slide your comb through the coat without resistance, you're ready for clipping, and you can use your guard comb attachments. Guard combs only work when the coat's properly bathed, brushed, and dried, just like we just talked. Otherwise, they can't feed the hair into the cutting edge of the clipper blade. Because if the hair can't slide through these little combs, then the guard comb can't feed that hair into the cutting edge of the blade, because it stops. It stops as soon as you go to enter the coat. The guard comb says, sorry, you didn't brush the dog. Sorry, you didn't brush the dog. I can't go anywhere, right? That's what your guard comb's saying. I don't know if you ever heard it, but I've heard it say it. Sorry, I can't do this. You didn't brush the dog enough. You didn't prepare the coat. So listen to your guard combs. Your guard combs are going to tell you when they can and cannot do something. So before you blame it on the guard comb, check the coat, check the blade, check your prep work by sliding that dog grooming comb through the coat from the skin out. And then you're ready to go for it. If your comb catches or snags as you're checking it to see if it's ready for guard comb work, if it catches or snags and stops in the coat, then go back to the brush. Go back to the brush and start working those areas and breaking through those areas which are causing the problem, and then check it again with your comb. Then that test, this tells you if these teeth on this guard comb, if these teeth can go through it, these teeth can go through it. So this is your checking tool. We always say that it's not a dematting tool. It's not to be used instead of a brush. Never. Your comb is for lifting coat when you're scissoring, and it's for checking your work to see if you've brushed properly. If you can slide the comb through, then you've brushed properly, and then your guard combs are going to be a success. And once you come to this reality and really understand coat prep and nail it, coat prep, you can do any trim you want. any trim, any guard comb length you want with ease, and it'll look beautiful, because a perfectly prepared coat with precision is going to give you precise clipper work and scissor work, because the coat is straight, it's clean, it's ready to work. So now that you know how to check the coat's readiness to see if you're able to use guard combs with the coat, let's take a closer look at the tools themselves. So I'm going to put something up on the screen for you. I'm going to show you a clipper blade and a guard comb side by side on screen so that you can really see the difference. So let's pop that little puppy up there, huh? Are you enjoying this? Is this helping? I hope so. I try. Let's take a look at this image. Okay, so remember, guard combs aren't blades, guys. They're not blades. They don't cut hair. They simply guide it into the clipper blade underneath. It's the blade that does all the cutting, the blade that it's attached to. So let's break it down up close so you can understand exactly how they work together. So on the left, you'll see a guard comb attachment that is actually attached to a blade, right? Well, you see the top arrow there shows you where the cutting edge is. That's where the hair will be cut. When you look at the whole length of that guard comb above that, that's how far the fur, the coat, the hair has to travel through the guard comb before it reaches the cutting edge. And in turn, obviously, it leaves that much length of coat. Very accurate. Guard combs produce very accurate work. They're extremely necessary in the pet grooming world. But this is how they work. You can see what's circled is where they attach to the blade. So that's why they're called attachments, guys. They're called attachments. Look at the arrow down at the bottom pointing to those little circles. Those are the little clips that seat onto the back of the blade. When you pull forward, it snaps and locks over the clipper blade. The clipper blade does all the cutting. And if you're the picture on the left is a wide guard comb and a wide blade, which I find myself using more than anything. And the picture on the right shows you a standard size 10 blade and a standard size wall stainless steel guard comb. So if you're using wide guard combs, you have to use wide blades. If you're using standard size guard combs, you have to use standard size blades. That's how it works. That's what fits. So again, like the comb, let's look at that picture one more time. This one. Like the comb, we want to slide the teeth of the comb from the skin all the way through the length of the hair. If we can do that, then our guard comb can do that too when we go to clip the hair. But the only way you can use guard combs is if that dog grooming comb, this, can slide through the coat from the skin out, or these will fail. They will not work. You'll start clipping and it'll go whoop. And people say, well, I think the clipper does, it's not a good clipper. Can you give me the name of another clipper? No, any clipper. I could use a Wall KM2, which is a very beginner clipper, but it is a professional grade clipper. I could use a KM2 that doesn't have the power that this guy does, but it'll cut. It'll power that blade. It'll cut it. Trust me. It's not the clipper. It's the coat prep every time. The only other thing it could be is if your blade is dull. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Your blades can dull. If they dull, they're not going to cut. And if the coat is perfectly prepped and you're gliding through and all of a sudden it's just getting stuck in the coat, and you can clearly take the comb and you're like, no, everything's good here, the blade's dulling. Or it could need cleaned and oiled. But there's more. There's more to it than that. There's more that you need to be aware of. So we looked at this one. Yes. When the guard comb is attached to the clipper blade, it adds length between the blade and the coat. That's all a guard comb does. Is It guides the hair into the cutting edge of the blade. The different size guard combs, whether it's a 7/8, a 5/8, a 1/2 inch, is telling you how much coat it's going to leave. If it says it's a 1/2 inch, it's a number 2 or what. I don't go by numbers, I go by the measurements. They're usually numbered like number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and even though they're numbered, they also say what the measurement is, 3/8, 1/2 inch, 5/8, whatever. That's telling you the length of coat that it's going to leave. So when the guard comb is attached to the clipper blade, it adds length between the blade and the coat. And that's exactly what guard combs are designed for, to extend the cutting length of the blade and leave more coat behind. That's the whole reason for guard combs. And a nice, precise, uniform length, you know, instead of trying to hand scissor that, and to do that in a timely manner is just not possible. That's why guard combs exist. And they're a wonderful, wonderful tool. Every pet groomer uses them. Everybody uses them. They're wonderful. So before we move on, there's one more thing that can seriously affect how well your guard comb works. And that's called hair packing. Even if your blade is sharp, so you got a good blade on here, underneath the guard comb, there's a good sharp blade on there, and the blade is oiled and cleaned. It's a good, sharp, cleaned, oiled blade. Even if your blade is sharp and the coat is prepped perfectly, hair can still get trapped between the teeth of your clipper blade and the inside of the guard comb during use. It's called hair packing. So you'll see hair trapped all in here. Even hair between the guard comb and the blade when you take it off. All that can stop the clipper blade from being able to make the contact that it needs to make and make a nice clean cut. So you're going to see flaws. You're going to, it doesn't look good. It's starting to look, you know, like it's not picking up all the hair. So it could just be you need to depack your blade. And this is normal, and it's to be expected when we use guard comb attachments. It's normal. That buildup creates resistance and stops the blade from cutting efficiently, absolutely, which means that your guard comb can't feed the hair through it. Your guard comb can't feed the hair through to get to the clipper blade. Everything is packed up in there. So it's starting to be very uneven, not precise. This is normal when we're clipping along. So during every grooming session, let's say it that way, during every grooming session when you're using blades or guard combs, it's important to stop and check your blade and your guard comb every few minutes. Look for packed hair. Clear it out with a blade brush. Brush it out. Turn your blade off. Brush it out. Depack your blade. That's what it's called. Use a blade brush or a toothbrush. And this will keep things clean. And you got to oil your blade before and after every use, and you should be good to go. But you got to depack that blade. I actually made a quick YouTube short video just a few days ago all about depacking your blade, how to check and how to depack your blade, what it looks like, how to do it while you're grooming. It's like a 15-second YouTube short. So I've linked it for you in the description below if you want to take a quick little look at that. You know, when we're done here, don't leave me. But see what I mean by a packed blade and how to depack it. I have a video in the description below for you. So it's visually going to help you understand how to do that. I've also linked a few other helpful videos below on this topic today of guard combs that are definitely going to prove to be very helpful for you guys. So I think there's 4 or 5 videos that I've linked below, but I kind of handpicked my videos that I thought would be helpful for you. So definitely take a peek down there when we're done talking here and go watch those videos, because they're going to help you on this very specific topic and help you understand more about how to have successful trimming with guard combs, how all that works. So now that we know we have to have a sharp blade, we have to depack our blade, and our coat has to be prepped, we're sure to have successful guard comb work. That's the secret, guys. So check out those videos later if you need more information on that. If you need more help, go deeper on this topic. I've got some videos down there for you. But one last tip, if you're using detachable blade clippers, which this is a detachable blade clipper, and you're using guard combs. Guard combs, so any brand, Joy-Z, Wall, guard combs, if they're made for detachable blade clippers, they are universal to any clipper. So it doesn't mean I can't use a Joy-Z guard comb with a Wall clipper, because I can. It's universal, and they were designed that way. So that means no matter the brand, whether it's Wall KM10, Wall KM2, KM5, if it's an Andis AGC clipper, if it's a Joy-Z Falcon or a Joy-Z Raptor or any other brand of detachable clipper, also known as A5 clippers, your guard comb sets and your guard combs will work universally on them. That's another question I get asked a lot. Just be sure that you're matching the right blade size. What do I mean by that? If you're using, and this is a wide, if you're using wide guard combs, this is a wide guard comb, they have to be paired with a wide detachable blade as well. You can't use the standard size 10 blade. You see the difference, guys. You can't use a standard 10 blade with a wide guard comb attachment. I know you guys know that. It doesn't fit. You have to use the standard size guard comb attachments for your standard size blades. This is still a detachable blade. Still fits on the same clipper. Right? It's just that this is a wide blade and this is a standard size blade. So just be sure that you're matching the right blade size with whether it's a wide guard comb or standard size. If you're using wide guard combs, they must be paired with wide detachable blades. It's an absolute must. You have to do that. So be sure to always, here's another tip on this, always use under your guard combs. This is another question a lot of you have. This is a guard comb. Well, what blade do I use? Can I use a 7? No, a 7 would never work for many reasons. For one thing, and I don't have a 7 at my fingertips, a 7 blade has longer teeth here. So when we put on our guard combs and we snap them into place, can't do this backwards. Oh, that doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Because it's a standard size blade. All right, let's get with the program here. I forgot I switched my blade. Now I have hair all over my computer. So back to a 10 wide. All right, now we got the right one, baby. So wide guard comb, wide clipper blade. When we set this on here, pull it forward. I gotta look at it the way I normally do. And click it into place and snap it on like that. It's secured on there very well. But if a 7 blade has longer teeth than a 10 blade. So this action, it would never be able to reach over the 7 blade. That's why 5s, 7s, 4s, they won't work with guard combs. The only size blades that you can use under your guard comb is a 10 blade, a 15, or a 30 blade under your guard comb attachments. And I recommend the 10. You guys know that, and you know why. I tell you all the time, because if you're using guard combs and you may want to go in and take the guard comb off so you can tidy up here at the corners of the eyes or the ears or the sanitary areas. If this were a 30 blade, it would cause major skin irritation. But a 10 blade typically will not. A 10 blade is your safest blade for the sanitary areas. And do I see a difference when I use guard comb attachments with a 10 blade, a 15 blade, or a 30 underneath it? Do I notice a difference? I can't really say that I do, to be honest. On super dense, heavy coats, I may see more hair packing on a 10 blade than a 30. But I still can't absolutely guarantee you. Sometimes I believe that to be true, and then I'm doing a really thick doodle and the 10 blade is doing just fine. I still am going to have to remove my guard comb periodically and depack my blade many times throughout the groom. It's just a fact of using guard combs. And clipper blades. Even if we're just using a 7 blade and we're clipping and clipping, oftentimes you're going to have to turn that blade off and depack it with your blade brush. Be sure to watch that short that I linked below. It's quick and it just shows you exactly what I mean by when I say depack your blade. It'll show you exactly what I mean. I don't want you guys to be confused. So to wrap all this up here today on guard combs, guys, guard combs are incredibly useful, incredibly useful, but only when everything else is set up for success. And remember that guard combs don't cut, they guide the coat into the cutting edge of the clipper blade. They guide the coat into the cutting edge. They do not cut. They don't cut. The blade cuts. It's the clipper blade underneath that does all the work with guard combs. You guys have to understand that. I know most of you do. If your coat isn't prepped correctly, like we spoke earlier about the bathing, conditioning, drying, brushing, combing, brushing, all the things, if it's not prepped right, then your blade isn't, or possibly even, or if your blade isn't sharp, or your clipper blade isn't cleaned and oiled before use, your results could suffer. So always starting with a clean oiled blade. And I have a great video also linked for you below. It's about blade care. That's another thing. You may be saying, what do you mean cleaned and oiled? That's why I pulled that video and put it in the description too. I'm like, they're going to ask that question and then they're going to have that video right there for them. So I have a good video on how to clean and oil and check your blades and where to send them if they need sharpened. So that's a very important video too. But I clean and oil my blades after every use, before and after. So obviously if I'm working on a little schnauzer, you know, first thing in the morning, and I'm using my guard combs and my 10 blades, and then after I'm done, I will clean with Andis Cool Care, I will oil, I will get all the hair particles out first, clean and oil the blade, put it down. It's now clean and ready for the next use. Then the next dog comes in, I'm going to pop that 10 blade on, it's cleaned and oiled, and I'm going to start on the next dog. And when I'm done with that dog, I'm going to take that blade, I'm going to depack it, clean all the little hair particles out, or you could use a high velocity forced air dryer, guys. We all do it. Those high velocity dryers have multiple purposes. Blow all that hair out of there and get it out of there. Then clean it with Andis Cool Care and oil it and put it back down for the next use. So before and after every dog, it's ready, it's cleaned, it's oiled. You wouldn't believe the life that you save in these blades, meaning they will stay sharper longer. A blade only dulls because it's being used a lot and it gets used hard. So if you use a blade constantly on dirty coats, it is going to dull a lot quicker than that same blade would if you were clipping a clean coat, a clean, well-prepared coat. There is no amount of grooms that you'll get out of a blade. A lot of people ask me that. There isn't. It's how you take care of the blade. That's what determines how long it stays sharp for you. All blades will go dull. All blades, just like a steak knife. You can cut enough steak till all of a sudden it's not cutting very well. And then it needs sharpened. And that's the same with your grooming blades. So yes, these detachable blades are sharpenable. You're able to sharpen them and it's worth it because they are like, you know, $30 blades. They're little cheapy. These are metal blades. So, you know, they can be sharpened and probably about 5-6 sharpenings I'd say you'd get out of one, and then it's time to maybe say, oh, okay, now I got to buy another 10 blade because we're starting to, you know, whittle some of that down a little bit. When you're sharpening, you're going to start to lose some of the metal because, you know, they are taking a little bit off each time they sharpen it, not much. So if your coat isn't prepped and your blade isn't sharp, if your clipper blade isn't cleaned and oiled, you could have some problems with your guard combs. Use your metal grooming comb as a test. If it can glide through the coat without resistance, then you're ready to go. This is your tester. Can I use guard combs on my dog today? Well, if you properly bathed, brushed, and dried, and you can slide a dog grooming comb from the skin out, then yeah, go for it. Your guard combs are going to do beautiful work for you. So, but only then. Don't forget to stop and check for packed hair during your groom. Hair that gets packed between the teeth of the clipper blade as well as packed in the little teeth of your guard combs. That can stop the blade from being able to give you a nice precise trim. Keep your tools clean and they're going to serve you well, guys. And that goes for blades. There is a video linked below about cleaning and caring for your blades, because you may be wondering how to do that. So don't forget to watch that. If you've learned something new here today, guys, give this video a thumbs up. But now I would love to take your questions. So if you can drop your questions in the chat by pressing and holding the dash bar and creating a line, then typing your question so I can clearly see it and pull it out and get you some answers. So let's get chatty. I always love hearing from you guys with your questions, and even in the comments. If you're watching this on the replay, guys, I do read the comments. I really do. I may not be able to get back to every comment, but I do read them. It's important to me to read those comments. It tells me what you're struggling with, what you're succeeding with. It really helps me be able to help you better. So I always love hearing from you guys any way possible, even in emails. I don't want you to miss our next live stream, because we're going to break down the differences between clipper blades and guard combs. Okay? We're going to talk about how to choose the right ones for the job. When would you choose guard combs and when would you choose blades? So I think that'll be in 2 weeks. That'll be our next live stream. I think that's going to be wonderful for you guys to attend. So mark your calendars, because I don't want you to miss it. I want you to join me right here live from my WAG's grooming table. That is where we're hanging out tonight, right on the grooming table, just like we have been for the last, we've been doing live from the grooming table live together for about 7 years, I think. Yeah, I think about 7 years. Excellent. And some of you have been with me this whole time. That is amazing. I mean, I don't think it goes unnoticed and unappreciated, because it isn't. I really appreciate you guys building this community with me. I couldn't do it without you. So I'm just looking in here for some questions. I see Shannon has one. She didn't put a line, but I did see the question. Shannon says, wanting to buy new clippers and was wondering if a new wall KMC clipper are quiet and as amazing as the KM10. The wall KMC is the new version of the wall KM. This is a cordless wall KM. The KMC is cordless as well. So that's a revamped version of this. Yes, it's very quiet. What I like about the wall clippers, they're not squealy. They're just like a 4-stroke motor, not a 2-stroke motor, if that makes any sense to anybody. They just plow through. They have a low noise, and they have a rev built in there. So like if it runs into coat and it's having trouble, it'll kick up the power a little bit, just to create that nice, smooth, consistent flow and go when you're clipping. It's great. So yeah, I recommend the wall KMC. It is the new version of this. So you may still be able to find the KM cordless clipper. That's if people still had it in stock and they're still selling them. Once they're out of stock, you won't see this anymore, because the KMC replaced it. That's what it was, straight from the wall distributor's mouth. I talked to him at the show and asked him, is the wall KMC different than the KM? And he said it replaced it and they made improvements. And I said, well, thank you. That clears that up for me. They're all wonderful. I love going to the shows. Guys, if you are going to the Pasadena show, there's the trade show in Pasadena, California this week. I believe it starts Thursday night for classes. Friday starts the trade show. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is the trade show. You got to go to the Pet Sked booth. They are offering free drawings, I think like 10 of them, throughout each day. Friday, they're drawing 3 names. You just, all you do is sign up. There's no fee or nothing. You just sign up, go talk to our friends, because they're our friends at Pet Sked. You know, I'd be there. I was supposed to be there, but it was canceled. So I chose not to go in July. I already went to Groomed with that plane ticket, and that was in Georgia. But go see our friends at Pet Sked and sign up for that drawing. So they're going to be drawing 3 names every day, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And each person who they draw, who wins, gets a $100 gift certificate to the trade show, which I think is cool, because we all go with our list of things that we want or we want to check out, or a new product that we're interested in. And you get $100 of free spending at any booth, any vendor at the trade show. So go for it. If you don't win Friday, you're still in the running for Saturday and Sunday. If you don't win Friday or Saturday, you're still in the running for Sunday. So it's worth it. Go visit our friends at Pet Sked. They just want to see you. And they're like, but we want to do something for the pet grooming community that they would appreciate, and something to give them worthwhile to come and say hi to us. So don't forget to go to the Pet Sked booth if you are at the Pasadena show. Back to questions. I would be there, but it's in California. It's a long trip. I was already scheduled to go there. I went to 2 other trade shows since then. 3. I've went to 3 trade shows since then. So my next trade show isn't going to be until Hershey, which is Hershey, Pennsylvania, and I can't wait to see you guys there. You have to come and see me. Shannon says, hi, Amy. I was wanting to purchase some new clippers. Okay. Shannon did put a line in front of it down further. Thank you, Shannon. I hope that you heard my answer. The Wall KM C Plus is the same as the Wall KM. It's just the new model. And it has newer, updated technology. So that's the difference. Probably longer battery life, too. They usually... Every time they remodel something, the batteries get better too, because our technology is getting better, that's for sure. So just looking here, Janelle's reminding people, thank you, Janelle. Put a line in front of your question so Amy can see it. I see here that Laura has a question. Soft-coated standard poodle mom here. Well, congratulations, Laura. You shouldn't have to depack every sweep of the clipper, right? You're absolutely right, Laura. No, you should not have to depack the blade every time you make a pass. I don't see what would cause that, unless you're not preparing the coat and it's really hanging in here because it's a dirty coat. Will stick. A dirty coat will stick inside the teeth even after it's clipped. A clean coat will fall away because it's clean. It's not gummy. Dirty coats are gummy and they will stick inside of these teeth after the hair is clipped. So I'd say, you will see that if your coat is not clean, conditioned, and brushed and dried properly. So there again, check that out. That could be the problem a lot of people are having when they're trying to use guard combs, is they are ignoring the importance of that coat prep if they really want good results. If they really want good results, you can't ignore that. Shannon says, hi, Amy. I'm ready to purchase some professional clippers. I was wondering if you like the new Wall KMC Plus as much as the KM10. Do they run quiet? Yes, I did not buy the KMC Plus because I have 2 Wall KM10s and this, and I have the Joyzy Falcon, and I have the Joyzy Raptor, and I have an Andis clipper in the closet that's old. So I really just have no reason to keep blowing money on clippers. So what I do is when I go to the trade shows, and this guy's lasted me a long time, so I do know the longevity that Wall puts into their clippers. But when I go to the trade shows, I hold them, I feel them, I utilize the functions, the blade release. How does it feel to me? Do I like the lever? How do I like the switch? How does it sound? How does it vibrate? So I do all that when I go to the trade shows. If I'm curious of a clipper, especially for you guys, so I can give you the feedback. All the clippers that you will find, professional grade clippers, are going to do a good job. It's just that some are built better than others. Some are quieter than others, meaning some will last you longer. And when you're spending $250 or $300, you want something that's going to last you more than 5 years, right? I know I do. So I have found that reliability in the Wahl KM series clippers. So would I recommend it, Shanna? Yes, the KMC is a good clipper. I absolutely would recommend it. But do I use it on the daily, the new upgraded version? No, I can't say that I've used it a lot. I've just tested it at the shows. And from what I see, would I buy it? Yes. If I needed another cordless, yes, I would buy the Wahl KMC Plus. I feel that good about it. So I hope that helps you. What type of oil is needed for the blade? Jackie asked. Jackie, if you watch the video linked below, it has to be clipper blade oil. You can get it. Andis makes it. My clipper blade oil is made by Andis. Joy Z makes a nice clipper blade oil that you can actually use to oil your shears too. So you can get both of those at Groomer's Choice. And use my link below, guys, because my Groomer's Choice link, Shop with Amy Leigh and Groomer's Choice, is going to save you money. And when you get to my landing page, there's a little search bar in the top. Just click on clipper blade oil or blade oil, and it'll take you right to that page. Or clip on, they have, Groomer's Choice sent me, this is their new summer line, the Summer Scents. They make summer scents, shampoos. I got the 2 shampoos and conditioners. This Aloha Bliss and Frosted Orange Sickle, yeah. Holy crap, I say these are my favorite summer seasonal scents that they have made thus far. They smell amazing. So you can get the matching shampoo with the matching cologne, and you can get that. Oh God, that smells so amazing. You can get that on my landing page. Just go to the search bar and type in seasonal scents shampoo, and it'll show you the latest ones. And I believe they're on sale right now too. So that's the Frosted Orange Sickle and the Aloha Bliss. Both of them are fabulous. If you just want something fresh for the summer, these are concentrated shampoos, professional. So say you only use that much out of your gallon, or if you're professional, you use a half a gallon or maybe the whole gallon. Will it keep? Yes, for like years on your shelf. So you pull it out next summer and use it next spring. As long as you don't add water to the gallon, you're good to go. So I like to get the seasonal scents, especially right before a holiday, right before Christmas, right, springtime, floral. People are excited. Things that smell good, I like to switch up my seasonal scents. There's like sugar cookie for the fall months. There's what's the Christmas cookie? There's that one. There's all these different scents for the different times of year. In the fall, we also have pumpkin spice. There's another one I can't think of. I even have gallons of these. But they're nice to switch up with the seasons. So if you're interested in those things, you can find that at Groomer's Choice too. But you really need to be using my link if you're shopping at Groomer's Choice so you can save money, because that's why we created this whole thing together. This whole big new deal, and I love it. Between me and Groomer's Choice, I have nothing but love for Groomer's Choice, and I'm so glad to collaborate with them. Deborah says, Amy, how do you feel about blade wash? You know what I don't like about it, Deborah? I've tried it. Oster made a blade wash. They probably still do. And I tried that, but it's messy. And I'll tell you another thing, and I know plenty of sharpeners. I'm friends with plenty of sharpeners that I have met at the shows, and they all say they don't typically like the submergible blade wash because it can back up into your clipper, and it can affect your clipper. So that's why the Andis Cool Care is awesome, because it cools the blade too, but it disinfects. It's a rust preventative. It cleans, disinfects, and it adds a little bit of lubrication, but not enough. You still need to run a quick little bead right here along the cutting edge of the blade with the clipper running. add your little bead there, tilt it down so it doesn't go into the clipper. I have a video link below, guys. Watch that video if you want to know how to clean your blades. Not a fan of blade wash because I believe that it's just too messy and it kind of gets into the clipper and it can cause damage to the clipper. And we all know our clippers are expensive, but I'm glad you asked, Deborah. That's a great question. A lot of people probably wonder the same thing. So the type of oils that I use Andis clipper oil, not grease. It's oil for clipper blades. That's all it is, clipper blade oil. Amy says, how quickly do blades dull when used on a dirty coat used for pre-clipping? It's a good question too, Amy. I'm glad you asked it. So dedicate a 10 blade, a 7 blade, a 5 blade. Dedicate one of each to being pre-clipping blades. I mean, before you bathe the dog, if you have to do any pre-clipping, say these are my pre-clipping 10, 5, and 7 blade. And then have the same blades for finishing after the dog is cleaned, bathed, dried, and brushed, because you will see the long life of the blades of the dogs, the ones that are used on clean coats versus the dirty coats. So again, you're asking me how long. It depends on how thick is the coat, how dirty is the coat. There isn't a number of grooms that says you can pre-trim dogs with this 10 blade at least 20 times. There's not, because what depends on that is how dirty is the coat, how matted is the coat, how thick is the coats you're clipping. So those are the variables that determine that, Amy. I hope that makes sense. But definitely, I like what you're saying about you use certain blades for pre-clipping and only use those blades for pre-clipping. And have another one in the drawer ready to go for when they dull, because we all know when blades go dull, they give you no warning. They just all of a sudden, they stop in the coat and they're just dull. They're not cutting it. So definitely have your spare blades, brand new ones ready to go, or sharpened, send the ones that have been sent out for sharpening, have them ready to go. So a good question though, Amy. Lois says, hi Amy, sometimes washing, drying, and brushing combing squirt is just about all she can handle. Is it okay to clip her the next day as long as she is combed out very well first? It's okay if you're talking about a dog that can't, that gets worked up, and like I can't put her through too much in one session, like she's really panting, or whatever. She's just showing signs of stress. If you're seeing that, finding ways to reset her and reset her mind is a good idea too, to help her learn that it's okay to accept grooming. And the more she does it, the more she will accept it. And possibly if you're kind of a beginner, Lois, maybe it's taking you longer. And the more often that, the more grooms you get under your belt with squirt, probably the faster you're automatically going to be. And then maybe you might find that your grooming sessions can all happen in one session, right? That is the goal, because the coat, after it's dried and brushed and clean, it is very straight, which gives you a precise clip. Once we allow that coat to start coming back into its shape, waving out a little bit, or the dog lays on it and licks the feet, your clipper work is not going to look as good as it would if you would have clipped it right away after the bath and the blow dry and brushing. But is it going to look terrible after one day? It's probably going to be okay. I mean, as a professional, I would never suggest that unless I had a senior dog. Like, I would never suggest some of my clients say, hey, bring me Fluffy on Tuesday for the bath and blowout and Wednesday for the haircut. Unless I'm talking about a senior dog or a handicapped dog or a dog that, like you said, cannot take too much. And I don't want to push the dog over the edge. That's the only time. And at that point, I believe vanity isn't an issue. We're doing the best we can to make her look beautiful and keep her comfortable, but the way the trim turns out, how it looks, would it look better if I could do it all in one day? Yes. But I think at that point, the pet parent and myself would be on the same page that we want what's best for her. So we'd be willing to overlook when it doesn't look as good as it used to. when Fluffy wasn't so old, and now we have to break her grooming sessions apart or whatever. So Shannon said, thank you, Amy. Sorry for the multiple. No problem, Shannon. Don't worry. I got you, though. I'm glad. It was a good question about the KMC clipper. A lot of people are wondering the same thing. Lois says, will you be doing a grooming video with Cash so everyone can get a look at him and how he's growing? Yes, I will. I was just thinking about that. I have a couple of different videos I need to make right now, and some that are in the works that I already have the footage that I'm editing or waiting for another clip or whatever. Cash is getting big. He is going to be 6 months old on the 18th of July. And he's getting very big, but I think the first video I'm gonna do with him is poodle face, feet, and tail, which it's a real challenge for him learning to accept, especially his feet. He doesn't care for his feet to be shaped, but he's good. He really is good. Every time we do it, he gets better. So I think that video will be coming, and obviously he's still got a puppy coat. He's right between a puppy and an adult coat, so it's not a beautiful scissor coat yet. It's got a little wave to it. But he looks so cute, you know. I do use guard combs to set the length, and then I scissor it all together. I'll be making videos with Cash, no worries. I will. I got lots of videos to make, no doubt. And maybe if you guys come to Hershey, you guys might be able to meet Cash and Gus. There may be times when they're there for demo purposes or just meet and greets. And I think it's quite possible that you might meet Ellie Grace. I think I'm going to do a demo with Ellie Grace. I'll be announcing that another time, where I'll be, because I need the definite, absolute, yes, I'm doing a demo there before I tell you. But I've already been told I am. So Ellie Grace will be there. She's a wonderful dog to groom. It's funny how, you know, some of the most energetic dogs on the daily can be some of the most wonderful dogs on the grooming table, and you would never predict that. But she works for me so nicely on the grooming table. Ellie Grace is a dream to groom. She's absolutely wonderful, and she's beautiful. So yeah, let's see here. Okay, Amy does read this chat every show. Yes, I do, Janelle. Yes, I do. In fact, I go back and read it afterwards because I keep the chat open after we close the live stream, and then I can just scroll through and read it. And sometimes I see things I missed, and I kick myself and be like, oh, I'm sorry, I let him down again. Ava says, my vet has prescribed trazodone for my Bolognese. He hates being groomed, and his face must now be trimmed. Any thoughts, Amy? Yeah, trazodone, yes. Little Gus, when he was having his mental issues, we had to put him on trazodone. I can tell you this, when a dog is feeling anxiety, if he has anxiety over grooming for some reason, whether it's clippers, whether it's brushing and blow dryer, I don't know. But I have found over the years that anxiety overpowers any of the pills that were ever prescribed to any of my client pets when they really feared grooming. Some dogs, it was a mental thing. Like they were a good little pet, but they were mental in the grooming salon, and you just couldn't get anywhere with them. And sometimes dogs do have some little screws loose up there, you know. They're good for everything except this and that, you know. So we just don't know, but trazodone is common. That's what they like to prescribe these days. I've given it to Gus before, Big Gus, because not for grooming. He's great for grooming. He has anxiety when we leave. The only thing is I don't like to give my dogs pills if I'm not going to be able to watch them and monitor them. What if he had a reaction to it? You know, I don't know. So I don't like to go away and give them pills and assume everything's going to be good, because what if it isn't? But, you know, there are other things that the vets can give a dog that is highly fearful. So I'm not sure if it's just a little bit of fear and stuff. Ava, the trazodone may do just fine. I guess it would be worth a try, right? It's not going to make him really out of it. It does make him tired and a little dopey, but it's not like a tranquilizer, and it's not like going to make him like a La La Land, like a Valium or something. It's not quite that heavy duty. So it could just take the edge off. I guess that's what it's supposed to do. Lois says Squirt is making good progress, but sometimes she's getting pretty stressed. Sometimes I can continue a couple of hours later. Oh, good, like take a break. That's a good idea, the same day, but not all the time. She will soon be 10 and is retired from a puppy mill. She's a retired puppy mill mom. Well, she's earned her crown. She's our little queen, Squirt. Work with what she can do, Lois. And I can hear from what you're saying, that's what you are doing, because you know, you don't want to push her too far. And that's because you care for her and you're doing a very good job. So I'm very proud of you. Just keep an eye on her signs. See what she's willing to do, what she's willing to give you. Charles says, what daily comb and brush out spray do you recommend? I really like the, I have a couple favorites. I love the Quicker Slicker, which is made by Nature's Specialty, for many reasons. I'd say that's probably one of my favorite brush out sprays, and I've been using it forever. Another one is by Best Shot, and they sell that at Groomer's Choice, and it's called Ultra Max Detangling and Brush Out Spray, and it's a nice moisturizing detangling spray, but it doesn't weigh down the coat, and that's what makes a brush out spray good to me, is something that doesn't weigh down the coat after I use it, which means it's going to grime up again pretty quick because it's got tackiness in the coat from the product. I don't like leaving product behind in coats. So those are my favorite brush out sprays. Yeah, Quicker Slicker and the Ultra Max, you can't go wrong. Also, iGroom makes a really good one. Is that that might be the Magic? No, it's the Wonder Spray. In fact, I'm not sure if they even still make it. But yeah, those are good ones. Brenda says, hi Amy, why do you always seem to get tracks when I use a blade, or it looks like it's clogging and Mimi, I think you mean track marks in your, on the coat when you're using guard combs? I'm a new pro groomer with all the equipment all the way, but gosh. Okay, track marks. Track marks, often that is just the nature of guard combs. So in other words, you need to go through the coat, go back over it again, and go back over it again. Typically it's 3 times to get a smooth finish, because as you can see, the spacing between the teeth, there is some fallout that's going to happen with the hair. Some of that hair isn't going to come in here. It's going to just fall away or get pushed under it. So going over it at least 3 times, not 3 times in a row in the same spot. Just do the back, then do it again, then do it again, then move down the sides, then do it again 3 times. 3 times is the charm. Remember that. 3's the charm when it comes to guard comb and clipper blade. And using a 7 blade or a 5 blade or a 4 blade, you're going to want to go over it about 3 times for a smooth finish. Otherwise, it will not be a smooth finish. That's just the way it is. It's the nature of the beast. Leslie Ann says, what about shampoo or conditioner for a doodle that goes in the pool all the time so the coat gets dry? Well, definitely don't skip out on the conditioner. Any hydrating conditioner, the Best Shot Ultra Max has a good hydrating conditioner. Also, if your dog is in the pool a lot, Leslie Ann, consider in between baths using that Ultra Max by Best Shot brush out spray, because that's hydrating as well. So you want to just keep it hydrating. And yes, the pool will dry out that skin and the coat. So a good hydrating conditioner, the Ultra Max by Best Shot is a good one. And it also rinses nicely from the coat, which is important. And I would absolutely go with a hypo shampoo, like the Tropiclean's puppy shampoo. It's not just for puppies. It's just called puppy shampoo because it's safe for puppies. But it's a hypo shampoo, and it cleans so good. So the Tropiclean hypo shampoo is a good choice. Also, the Crystal Clear that Groomer's Choice makes is a great choice for a hypo shampoo. And you can use a hypo shampoo, guys, as your everyday shampoo on any dog. Doesn't matter the breed, doesn't matter the coat type. If you're not feeling the dog's clean in certain areas, you just wash him again in those areas while he's still in the tub. But you don't need to wash a dog twice in the same bath session, unless there's really grimy areas, feet, privates, face. Then you might want to hit that area twice. But on always conditions important if your dogs are getting in the pool, really important. And then you could use your brush out spray in between baths to keep it hydrated. So hopefully that has helped you guys. I am so excited. Thank you for being here with me tonight and asking all your awesome questions. Our next live stream is in 2 weeks. The topic is clipper blades versus guard combs. What's the difference? You're going to find out. So meet me back here next 2 Mondays from now, which is July 21st at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I want to hear from you guys. I'll be posting a poll on the community tab to help decide future topics of our live stream. I want to hear feedback from you guys. It gives me motivation for what content to create and what topics to visit with you. Your input's very important. It helps to shape what we dive into, during these Live from the Grooming sessions. So I will post a poll on my community tab today or tomorrow. Keep your eyes out for it, guys. And please be part of it. Contribute to that with your feedback so we can continue to be better together and help each other. I have a weekly dog grooming newsletter you can sign up for at my learning center. If you're interested in that, it comes out once a week. Dog grooming tips and tricks from Amy Leigh, Go Groomer. I write it myself, and it comes to your inbox every Friday at 8 a.m. if you sign up for that, and it's free. Channel members, I see many of my hounds here today. Thank you, hounds, for joining us. We have a learning session scheduled for this Sunday, our Zoom live learning session. We're on lesson number, 35, I think. So anyway, I just want to remind my channel members that we are getting together this Sunday, July 13th, for another learning lesson about dog grooming. I have something really nice for you guys at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will repost the invite on the community tab for members. Only channel members will be able to see the invite because I can turn it on to only show channel members. So if you have lost your invite, hounds, check the community tab and I'll be reposting it there this week. So today's Monday. I'll probably post it middle of the week to make sure that everybody gets a chance to see it. So they can see how to join the live session if they want to. Of course, all the sessions are recorded, so they can always go back. You can watch them at any time if you're a channel member. If you're not a channel member and would love to take your dog grooming knowledge to a new level, there's a link in the description below of this video where you can become a channel member, also known as hound. My hounds are cool. Go Groomer Channel members enjoy monthly live learning sessions and receive exclusive content and free downloads with every learning session. It's fantastic. They can rewatch all of our learning sessions on the replay and download the free PDFs for their notebooks at any time, as long as you're a channel member. So now in closing, my dear friends, I want to tell you guys one more time how awesome you are and how much I appreciate you coming to see me, and let me teach you some of my secrets, because I want to share that with you. I want to share it with everybody, and I'm glad that you listen, because I think we're all helping dogs all over the world with safe grooming habits and safe choices. So thank you guys. I love you. Now in closing of this live stream, I'm going to leave you with the Farmer's Dog Super Bowl commercial that warmed the hearts of dog lovers all over the world when it was aired. I cried. If you are interested in food for your dog that is species appropriate, tailored to a dog's specific nutrition needs, FDA approved, human grade quality ingredients, you could eat it. I would love to save you 80% on your first box of the Farmer's Dog fresh food delivered to your door. Click the link in the description below and see the benefits of feeding fresh food to your dog or dogs see the benefits that that has to offer your beloved pets. There's only one more thing to say, guys. Say it with me. Ready? Salute it. Long live dogs.